So we'll move on to the adaptations of the heart. What does the heart has, or what are the features it has that makes it to do its job efficiently? Number one, the wall of the ventricles are much thicker than those of the atria, as they are responsible for pumping blood. If you watch closely, let me come here. These are always pumping blood. This is pumping blood like this, out. This is pumping blood like this, out, so to say. So it is pumping blood, so it is thicker than the atrium that is receiving blood. What do I mean? This atrium, this right atrium, is receiving blood this way, receiving blood this way. This left atrium is receiving blood from here, from here, from here, from here. So it is receiving blood, so it's not as thick. So the left the ventricles, right and left, are thicker than the than the atria. Now hear this. Now between the two ventricles, the wall of the left ventricle is much thicker than that of the right. Why? Because the left ventricle is pumping blood around the whole body, while the right ventricle is just pumping blood to the lungs next to it. Let me show you that real quick here. Okay, I think I have. Okay, this is showing you. So this is the left ventricle. You can see it's quite thicker. If you look at this wall where I put a zigzag there, yes, this is the right ventricle. It's not as thick. But let me show you why it is that thick real quick in a quick explanation. So like I explained earlier on, but let me make it clearer now. These right lungs, the right ventricle pumps blood to the right lungs, which is around here, and this pumps blood to the left lung, which is around here, just next to it. But the left ventricle, the blood goes like this, goes to the head, to the arm, goes to the chest, goes to the abdomen, goes to the leg. So it pumps blood around the entire body. So because of that, it needs to be thicker to generate more pressure to take the blood to the height and depth and all sorts of things, so to say. All right, so there's a real demand for the left ventricle to be thicker. The two ventricles are thicker, but the left ventricle is thicker. So the point is, if you are asked, you can be asked, what is the thickest part of the heart? The answer is the left ventricle. Why? Because it pumps blood around the entire body. So for that reason, it needs to generate more pressure. All right, so this is the... So now, again, what other things does the heart has that makes it to do its job? It has two sets of valves. Two set means four, because a set is two. So two set, like two set of valves. What do they do? So let's look at that right now. So the valves in the heart are the tricuspid valve and the bicuspid valve. What does those do? That separates the right atrium from the right ventricle and separate the left atrium from the left ventricles. All right, so this is very, very important. What do they do? It prevents the backflow of blood. So when blood flows from here to ventricle and wants to move from ventricle to this, it will prevent it from going back here. So to say, let me take that again. We have tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve. All right, so that's a set. Then what did that do? It prevents blood from flowing back to this place. It prevents blood from flowing from here back to this place. So it closes. I will show you anyways. All right. Then what's the second set? This and this are called semilunar valves. They are found in the arteries, the aorta and the pulmonary artery. So for short, 1, 2, 3, and 4, making two sets of valves, so to say. Generally speaking, what valves do is to prevent the backflow of blood in the heart, or anywhere they are found, so to say. Now, the next thing is, it says, okay, the atrioventricular valves are separate the atria from the ventricle. Then the next one, it says semilunar valves are found in the two blood arteries that come out of the heart. What are these called? They are unusual. What are they unusual? The only artery that have, the only arteries that have valves are the pulmonary artery and the aorta. Let me show you right now. Other arteries don't have. These are the only two arteries. Please, you should know that usually we will say arteries don't have valves. Yes, but the exceptions are the pulmonary artery and the aorta. This is very important, please. The pulmonary artery and the aorta are the only arteries in the human body or in most mammals that have valves in it. So these valves open when the blood contracts, the ventricle contracts to push blood. I already explained it. Just pause the video and read this. It's just what I explained already, so to say. Then, oh, beautiful. I love this. Then before I leave that, let me show you something real quick. There is this thing called septum. Let me show you that real quick. Okay, this one is the septum that separates the right from the left side of the heart. Let me show you in that static picture here. This is the septum too. This, yeah, that's the septum. When they say someone has hole in the heart, it means that the ventricles are connected to each other, so to say, like that. All right. Okay. All right, so let's move on. It's already here. So the two sides of the heart are separated by septum. I already explained that. With the portion separating the atria and the septum, and the portion separating the ventricles, so just the way I explained to you that the right side of the heart is separated from the left side of the heart by septum. Once that is not in place, when there's a hole in there, that's what we call hole in the heart, and that will make oxygenated blood to mix with deoxygenated blood. That's really terrible, so to say. All right, so it says here the septum is important. Why? It prevents the mixing of what? Deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood inside the heart. So if the blood were to mix, then less oxygenated blood will be pumped to the body cells. Now, the blood, we're still talking about adaptation of the heart. The heart has a type of muscle which is strange. It doesn't get fatigue. This is my muscle here. If I contract and relax, a time comes by, my contraction and relaxation will become slower because the skeletal muscle will get tired because there will be accumulation of lactic acid. But strangely, the cardiac muscle cells are strange. They don't get tired. They don't get fatigued, because if they get fatigued, that means they're going to die. So it's a nice muscle that contracts from conception till death. All right. Next thing is it has coronary arteries that supplies the wall of the arteries. Okay, that's this. Let me show you that real quick. This is coronary artery and coronary vein. This one, that blue and the red. That's the coronary artery and coronary vein. What does it do? It supplies the vessel, the muscles of the heart itself, because it's a cell. It's made up of cells and tissue, so it needs to feed itself. So as the blood is leaving the heart, a branch or two, or not just a branch, branches of coronary artery supplies the wall of the artery itself, so of the heart, so that it keeps it alive. This is very important. Later in this lecture, I'm going to show you a disease called coronary heart disease, whereby people have heart attack and heart pain because when something goes wrong with the heart and with these coronary arteries. All right.